But what we have seen is very, very substantial orders. And I swear to you, I've said this before, I believe there's going to come a time where you get some very wealthy people. I don't know how many billionaires are there in the United States now. What, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? I don't know, a lot. You're going to get a couple of very wealthy people that say, give me every single thing you have right now. I'll take it all. And you're going to get people that will do that across the country, and bang, it'll all be gone. And I mean that. You can see it with what happened on Monday morning. And again, I always say you'll wake up to a new reality on Monday morning. Shocking it happened on Monday morning. Shocking that all of these insiders sold their shares leading up to the biggest one-day drop in the history of the Dow Jones. And
according to Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, claims that China has halted its gold purchases are false. Schectman explains that the country has been discreetly acquiring the precious metal through various covert methods, including buying unrefined gold and silver from regions like Latin America and then refining these materials domestically. These tactics help China avoid drawing attention to its substantial gold stockpiling efforts and prevent significant market price fluctuations. In today's episode, Schectman highlights how the Western media has often misrepresented China's gold buying activities, portraying them as less aggressive than they truly are. This misreporting stems from a lack of understanding of China's strategic methods to keep its actions under wraps. The misinformation has led many to underestimate China's influence in the global precious metals market. As a result, the true scale of China's gold accumulation remains largely hidden from public view. The implications of China's continuous gold acquisition are profound. As Schectman points out, China, along with other BRICS nations, continues to amass precious metals, potentially shifting the balance of economic power significantly. These nations are not just buying gold, they are preparing for a potential new global currency system backed by commodities like gold. This move could challenge the dominance of traditional assets and currencies, reshaping the global financial landscape. In the meantime, China and its BRICS partners are strategically positioning themselves to benefit from future economic changes. By quietly building up their reserves, they aim to introduce a more transparent and stable economic system when the time is right. Until then, they remain opaque about their true intentions and the extent of their gold holdings, ensuring that they can accumulate as much as possible without driving up prices or tipping off competitors. Schectman emphasizes that this strategic accumulation underscores the importance of understanding the deeper motives behind global economic movements. Now we'll show you the best clips of his latest interview with Liberty and Finance, but first, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you do not miss out our recaps. Enjoy the episode.
Producers in the world, and they make or produce between 300 and 500 metric tons a year. And you just add that up for the last 25 years, and you're well above the numbers of 2,600 metric tons or whatnot that they tell us. But most of my career, I mean, Donegan, I've been doing this for 34 years, and I can remember vividly most of my career, everyone saying the numbers that the Chinese are telling us, and usually it was stuck at 1,200 metric tons for, I don't know, for a long time. You can't believe it. They're not updating the numbers. You have the IMF saying their numbers are fugazi. You have the head of research for Bank of Montreal said their numbers are massively understated, and they are understated. They have been. Why would they want to be forthright? In particular, when we see the new unit settlement currency that has been evidently, according to Delma Rousseff, the head of the BRICS New Development Bank, agreed on in principle, 40% gold backing. Why would they want to be honest about how much gold they're buying? Before I get there, let's just look at the fact I've done 2 interviews recently with mining executives and talked with both of them about China buying things up quietly. Now, I've said that the commercial banks that work on behalf of the PBOC have been buying gold incessantly and not reporting it to the IMF in their dealings with the refineries in South Africa and in Switzerland. That's been obvious. I think they're doing things in a very covert manner. But what I learned recently is that the Chinese are going through Latin America right now and buying up all the silver concentrate and the silver doré bars, unrefined, all of it, buying up, paying out as much as twice what the Western bidders are bidding, paying twice what they will bid, bringing it home and refining it at home, where buying all of this stuff in unrefined form is it doesn't have an effect on the price. It's not coming off of an exchange. So they are going to great lengths to mask what they're buying and how much they're buying. They're using the manipulation on COMEX and the LBMA to mask what they're buying and how much they're buying. They would have no vested interest, really, at all. It would be stupid to tell everyone how much gold that they are trying to buy. And really, I mean, how much more forthright are we, where we haven't updated the numbers at Fort Knox, or had them audited rather, since 1953, and turned down Ron Paul every time he asks to have it audited. So it doesn't make any sense, to be honest about it. But there was an article that I read, and I think it was from Koos Jansen. He's a hell of a researcher. And he said, because the bullion banks take care of the gold transport for the PBOC, the shipments from London to Beijing are disclosed in UK customs data. The customs data reveals that the PBOC continued to buy gold in May when it communicated to the market it discontinued buying at it. And, so this is the thing. You can see the efforts they are going or taking, even going as far as decreasing the arbitrage premium on the Shanghai Gold Exchange to really make it look like they stopped buying it. But in essence, what did it do? It drove the price down. And the Western media, who's so stupid as it pertains to telling us what's really happening, well, they were all over, Reuters and all of the news channels were all over the fact that Chinese stopped buying gold, and that's got to be bad for the gold market. You never hear anything positive. It's always, even if it is positive, it's spun with a little bit of whipped crap on top of it for dessert. And they never, ever are bullish about gold because it is the antithesis of the system. So the media, after 18 months of the Chinese finally updating their numbers repetitively, and they stop, they're all over it saying they stopped buying. And I said, that's just a lie. I've been saying that on your show and everyone else. They're not stopping buying. In fact, these export numbers prove it. But I think people need to understand that this is an all-out rush. And when you see the effort that they are going to, like going through Latin America and paying double what everyone else will pay for unrefined doré in silver and silver concentrate, to ship it home at tons per, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of this stuff, the cost of shipping it and refining it is, they're okay with that. They've been mining gold that has been very uneconomical for a long time, using our trade imbalance. And so to them, it's money. And to them, they see the big picture. They think in terms of decades. Now, the BRICS has been going on for 18 years. This is not just a trend that is just beginning. And like you said at the onset here, things are spinning faster and faster and faster. I use that toilet paper roll analogy all the time. They are spinning faster, 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 faster. Look, we got this massive BRICS meeting in October, and the admission of Dilma Rousseff.
In today's news recap, silver price returns to the upside as recession fears allayed. Silver price snapped a 3-session losing streak on Thursday as it rose by 1.2% in the European session. Silver is finding stability as the market repositions itself for impending interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. Most analysts opine that the sharp declines witnessed across the board this week was mostly panic-driven correction with no data to confirm recession claims. Markets returned to the upside in the last 2 days after flashes of Black Monday triggered panic. The recovery has shifted attention to the Fed, with speculations of potential deep cuts of up to 100 basis points. This has restored confidence that a recession could be averted and could provide support for silver price in the coming days. The gray metals industrial demand outlook had recently taken a hit after disappointing economic data from China and the United States. The 2-hour chart below shows that silver price is currently on an upward momentum. Silver price will likely be on the upside trajectory if the action stays above the $27 pivot, as seen on the 30-minute chart. With the buyers in control, the pair will likely encounter the first resistance at 27.20. However, extended control could break past that barrier and send silver higher. On the other hand, a move below $27 will signal a shift of control to the sellers. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first, smash the subscribe button so you do not miss out precious metals recaps.
It's now done again, and I love that you phrase it that way and mirrored it that way. That's great, and it's true. But that's really where we are at right now. This is a high stakes game. This is about repositioning, and there's no reason to believe that any of them will be honest about it in their aspirations. But the reason they're not bitching, those countries, is because they're accumulating. They're using this against us. They're using it against us. And, I think that the manipulation that we see, the drive-by shooting that we've seen on COMEX over the last couple of weeks, where they knocked the price down, and you can only imagine they fleeced the managed money. You can only imagine how much managed money selling has been then switched into commercial bank buying. This is the rinse, wash, and repeat cycle they do all the time. They suck in all of the hedge funds and the speculative buying by the managed money. They absorb it, and once it slows down, they step on the price, and it flips. And then they create all of the margin calls, and people sell. And look, these hedge funds have investors that they have to appease, so they're not in it to absorb pain. They're in it to make a profit and get out when it flips the other way. But that's what's happening, and this is being used against us because, like I said, these countries are incentivized, coordinated, wealthy, sophisticated, and they know this is how you beat us. You don't beat us in a war with missiles and airplanes and aircraft carriers. You beat us by blowing up the biggest commercial banks on the planet because they're stupid enough to be naked short massive, massive, massive amounts. And that will happen at some point. I'll tell you what else I think is going to happen. And I do really, truly believe this, Dunnigan. I think there's going to come a time where there's going to be something that wakes up the very, very, very wealthy people in this country. We're starting to see it. The order sizes that we're doing now are really big. We don't have the massive amount of volume that we saw in other parts of the last 3 years, where the silver squeeze and everyone just getting a piece of it to make a whole bunch of money. It's not sexy enough. The instant gratification is not there in gold and silver yet for those people. And so they've moved on to things like Bitcoin and Nvidia and Apple. Okay, I get it. Fine. But what we have seen is very, very substantial orders. And I swear to you, I've said this before, I believe there's going to come a time where you get some very wealthy people. I don't know, how many billionaires are there in the United States now? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? I don't know, a lot. You're going to get a couple of very wealthy people who say, give me every single thing you have right now. I'll take it all. And you're going to get people that will do that across the country, and bang, it'll all be gone. And I mean that, because there will be a wake-up call, and you can see it. You can see it with what happened on Monday morning. And again, I always say you'll wake up to a new reality on Monday morning. Shocking it happened on Monday morning. Shocking that all of these insiders sold their shares leading up to the biggest one-day drop in the history of the Dow Jones, and the razor's edge that we are living on, where the Bank of Japan says they're going to raise rates a little bit, and as a result, you start to blow things up. The biggest one-day decline on the Japanese Nikkei, the biggest point drop ever in the history of the Dow Jones. And many of the, like, for example, the worst day in 57 years in Taiwan, the biggest drop in South Korea since 2008. This wasn't just isolated. And now Japan says, well, we're not going to raise rates anymore. Everything, it'll be okay. It'll go back to normal. We're that close. And as we said a few weeks ago, 1/8 of an inch separated chaos and calm. Do we really think it's going to be calm leading up to what amounts to the biggest high stakes election in the history of this country? And even no matter who wins, is it going to be calm after that, or is it going to be more chaos? Maybe they're able to keep the lid on things until the election, and then it just goes nuts. I don't know, but I do believe we're getting late in the game. And I think the biggest issue people will face will be getting metal, because when the biggest, most well-funded and well-informed money on the planet is going to these great lengths to siphon away everything, including doré bars and concentrate in unrefined form, to not move the market, what's going to happen when it just becomes obvious painfully obvious that this is the direction that the world is going, that there is no safety in traditional assets, and precious metals take on a whole new image with wealthy people in this country. I think it's going to happen. In fact, I would bet my life on it. And I don't say that to inject urgency. I just say it because I really do believe it. And we're starting to see much larger orders and concern from very wealthy people that, we would never see that back in the days. You get one or two orders like that a year. Now they're happening every week. And that's what's different now, at least from this side of the table. The volume has been low. It's starting to heat up. I think people feel something is wrong. People feel it. They're tingling, even if you can't articulate it. There's just craziness everywhere. And, just turn on the news and watch it for 10 minutes and you'll see.
What do you think of Andy's take? Do you think gold and silver price manipulation will end up soon with prices soaring to record highs, or do you disagree with him? Post in the comments section your price prediction for silver by the end of the year, and share with the stackers your exit strategy or buying levels. Me personally, I'd be looking forward to unwind a significant portion of my silver at $50 and would be selling all my stack if we get past $100. Now watch this video right here because it's a perfect fit for you. I'll see you on the other side.